Hi everyone, hope you are doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, after the IEBC commissioners handed over their evaluation report to the president, there is weird allegation that Ruto made during that time. And many Kenyans have been asking questions that really, does the president have advisors? I want to answer that question here. Indeed, Ruto asked the president, he has advisors. These advisors will always offer their advice to the president, what to say and where to say it. But what I'm not sure is if Ruto is really taking the advice. Maybe he might end up not taking the advice. And that's why Ruto is committing accidents, blunders, everywhere and every time. I'm saying this because for those who listen to Ruto, you will remember that Ruto talked about the issue of trying to manipulate an election and the plan to kidnap and of course execute Wafula Chebukati. But then the question was, did the president knew where he was speaking and what he was talking about? What was the forum where he was issuing this statement? And does he know that when it comes to the issue of election, he is a player just like any other individual? If Ruto was saying what he said in a public political forum, then that would have been just okay. But this statement he issued when he was meeting the IEBC commissioners, people who stand in the gap as the referee in election. So he made a blunder. In fact, he's doing this at a time when Kenyans were just trying to heal from the previous election, especially from the Azimio side. Given that this country has been divided into two. We have one side that is supporting Raila Odinga, and of course we have the other side, which is with the president. Ruto knows all this. But then, even after making some effort to go and reach out, even in the Nyanza region, try to bring everyone on board, it was seen as Ruto has finally started creating that perception of uniting the country. So he was playing a figure of unity. But with what he said the other day, it has totally watered down everything and every effort he had tried to bring Kenyans together. Because now, after issuing that statement, Azimio has finally reiterated. And now, they are exposing what many of us were not sure about. I'm saying this because now Jeremiah Kioni has come out to give real figures and explain how Raila Odinga won the election and how Ruto, using the IEBC, managed to manipulate the election. So, Raila Odinga supporters have been reminded how they made Raila Odinga win the election and then how Wafula Chebukati made Ruto the president. This is what Jeremiah Kioni said. We have seen that 59% of constituencies cannot be verified with absolute certainty. What can be verified is Raila Odinga won the election with 8,170,355 votes, representing 57.53% of the vote cast. Ruto got 5,915,973 votes, representing 41.66%.
What we have seen in one of the pages is that at one point, 144 constituencies had their results verified. And often at times, those results are far from the results that were announced by IEBC, 144 of them. We've also seen when you do 59% of the constituencies examined in that document, And this is a person examining before the alterations were done as the results were heading to the portal. 59% of the constituents examined showed results that cannot be verified with absolute certainty. But again, in the same document, what has been verified so far shows that Raila won the elections with 8,170,355 votes, representing 57.53% of the votes cast by that, when that verification was done. Ruto got 5,915,973 votes, representing 41.66% of the votes cast. Most of the manipulation that was done happened within the Mount Kenya region. As I said, the whistleblower is not hiding his identity. This is a research, a study that has been done by a group known as Vanguard Africa, a non-profit organization that partners with pro-democracy leaders across Africa. You can reach him, and I want Kenyans to take this down. You can reach him. This is his Twitter handle, @Smith-Jeffrey T.
We are continuing with this panel discussion, but just a quick request for those who are watching and have not subscribed, please consider to subscribe. To our channel subscribers, thank you so much. And again, to all our viewers, please give this video a thumbs up. Kenyans had already started moving on, and they were now focusing on making sure that they are putting William Samoei Ruto to task to make sure that he is fulfilling all the promises that he had given to Kenyans during the campaign. And that's exactly even what we were doing here. We were all analyzing things that Ruto promised, how he's going to deliver, where he's making mistake. We were pointing out. But William Samoei Ruto, because of fighting for the legitimacy, he is well aware he never won this election. He has again taken Kenyans back into the electioneering mode as we are speaking now. By the fact that he was trying to justify his presidency and making the weird allegation about Chebukati, talking about the story of counting votes, and trying to announce another person who really never won the election, it has now taken Azimio back into the issue of fighting for the real results of the election. If he had not come out with those statements he was giving, people were moving on. And Azimio might have not come out the way they have come to issue this statement. Yes, we knew Raila had promised to expose what happened. But it would have not come out in this manner to again start to raise the emotion of people, especially the Azimio side, who really believe that Raila Odinga was robbed. Because Ruto never won an election, the ghost of legitimacy is still haunting him. That's why he has to use everything to justify his presidency, just to make people accept him and believe that he won election. He's doing all those because again he has a focus on 2027. But if many people will believe that Ruto lost the election, the perception will continue going into the next election. And it will keep on haunting him, because Ruto has to know, if he's not aware, that people's voice is the voice of God. And Kenyans made a decision through the ballot. That decision was the voice of God. But Chebukati and the other commissioners played their game, and they never listened to the voice of God. They decided to make someone else the president. So because of all this, William Ruto has now exposed himself. Now people are aware that through the research which was done by NGO organization, that Raila won election. And you know, this is a landslide. Look at that margin. 8.1 million versus 5.9 million. 57.53% for Raila Odinga. That is huge. 41.66. Look at that difference. So from now going forward, Kenyans have been reminded that the man in the office was not the winner of the election. He is not the voice of God. He was not the choice of the people. But that one was a choice of few individuals who are sitting as referee in the concluded election. And you see, because of using such backdoor to get into power, Ruto will end up assuming the interest of Kenyans. He will never work for you people because you never voted for him. He knows clearly how he got to power. It was his money that put him where he is. So again, he understands that because he was using his money, he will not consider to work for the poor. That can be explained with the current situation we are in now, whereby people are dying of hunger here. People are sleeping on empty stomach, but Ruto will have the guts to carry food from this country, fly it to Somalia. Take food from this country, fly it to South Sudan. Then leave Kenyans dying. They don't have medicine. But the medicine is being taken to Sudan and Somalia. You should ask yourself that question. Why is Ruto doing this very openly? If really he was a choice of the people. A man who is a choice of the people, like Kibaki in term 1, he will always work for the people. Term 2 was forced to work with Raila Odinga because Raila was the choice of the people, the voice of God. And we saw tremendous change in this country. If indeed we could have the right person in the office, as we're speaking now, our economy will not be in a limbo. In as much we understand that, yes, because of too much borrowing, economy might not be that much good. But again, it can never be in the ICU where it is as of now. But the man who has come in the office, he has refused to provide that environment which will enable business to thrive. Instead, he is thinking on how to milk even the poor of the poorest in this country. A man who is now forcing everyone to pay taxes, even those who don't earn. So this is the person we have here. No one was going to talk about the issue of it, but he has brought this mood back. And this will justify many of the opinion polls that was done earlier ahead of the election. Because in most of those opinion polls, Raila Odinga was winning. The question was, how come just at the end, someone else come from nowhere and they become the president? This will justify those opinion polls. Indeed, they were right. And if you check even on most of the political analysts who are doing the analysis, up to the last end, it was clear Raila was winning. But things just changed because when results were reaching to the bombers of Kenya, it was generally altered at the end of the day. And Jeremiah Kioni is explaining how the Mount Kenya results were mostly affected. That explains on how again Azimio failed to have enough people on ground as their agents. Some were not paid on time. Some were neglected. So Ruto was also offering some money. And again, at the end of the day, even if you will have those agents, you pay them, then someone come and triples what you are paying them. Because of his greediness, they will end up, of course, working for a certain individual. So, even we are getting to understand that even the vote that Raila Odinga got in the Mount Kenya region was more than what was announced. That's where we are now. So we will wait and see when Raila will come back, what will be his views, and then going forward, we will understand that the mood we are in now, it has been created by none other than William Ruto by trying to force himself on Kenyans with a kind of fake allegations made to justify and legitimize his presidency.